This week, we are joined by one of the strangest guests that we have ever had on the podcast. And I mean that sincerely. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Rockman Power Hour. Ryan, this is a very, very interesting one.
Interesting is a word.
When I sent this to you, the first thing you said to me is this guy like this the entire episode? And I was like, yeah. And it's great because the band who we're talking to this week has mystique, and they've got mystery. They've got a lot of unanswered questions around their whole shtick, if you will, and that's the Nuclear Power Trio. Now, this band is not necessarily your run-of-the-mill band because they're a trio. They're extremely talented musicians. I mean, you cannot say anything about their musicianship. It's through the roof. They're like you would call, if you had a sports team, a ringer. Like, they're ringers. They are full-on ringers on each of their instruments. But their shtick is very unique because they're playing. The three of them are three world leaders.
Yeah, I love theme bands that try throughout my entire life. Like, starting, I think one of the first theme bands I loved was Kiss and the Misfits, and both bands, I think, write incredible songs.
Yeah.
A lot of other bands kind of like they do the shtick, but then they don't do the work to make sure the songs add up.
Yeah.
And I think even if Nuclear Power Trio didn't wear masks and weren't so thematic, it would still be amazing music. So, there you go. When you take it all away. I really like this band. I think the music's awesome, but at the same time, I have a lot of respect for people who are able to do comedic improv, and this entire interview is riddled with it. And I am both amazed from a musical standpoint and from a comedy standpoint. Amazed all the way through.
Yeah, so we're joined by, we don't really know who we're joined by because, I thought I was talking to one of the members of Nuclear Power Trio, but we ended up getting their new manager, Abraham Lincoln, which is just, listen, I don't have anything to say about this in terms of there's nothing I can say that's going to, I have a lot to say about it. There's nothing I can say that's going to prepare you for it. You just kind of have to watch and listen. But if you're listening to the podcast on audio, Nuclear Power Trio are three musicians that wear masks, and each one of them is a different, somewhat controversial world leader, if you will, or leader of their respective countries. So look into them. I don't want to say anything. I want you to really do a little bit of investigating to find out, because if you hear this band, much like Ghost, if you hear the band, you might have one impression of them, but if you see the band, it changes the experience completely. Yeah. If you listen to them, they're like, oh wow, they sound like a fusion jazz trio that really. And then if you watch their video or watch them live, it's like, oh my God, this is completely a different senses are working right now. So I don't want to give away too much. I do like Nuclear Power Trio very much. I think they're super cool. I love when bands go all in, like you, Ryan. I love when bands commit to whatever their shtick is. I even hate saying the word shtick because it sounds so, hey, show me your shtick. But whatever your I don't even want to say gimmick, whatever your theme is, when you commit to it and you're that committed to it, I appreciate it. And especially when they're sending their manager to do the interview because the three of them don't talk, whatever the reason is. I have a lot of respect for people that are willing to go that extra mile and commit. First time I interviewed Ghost, I interviewed a nameless ghoul. So I had no idea who it was. And everyone told me after, well, it's Tobias Forge who does the interviews because he's the voice of the band, but he didn't do an interview as Papa. He did an interview as one of the ghouls. But just to sneak around it. Cause like now, if I was to say that to you, you'd be like, oh, no big deal. You know what he looks like. But back then everyone was analyzing it. They were like, look at his hands. He's got a ring on. Look at this. Like, that's Tobias. Look at his eyes. And I was just like, yeah, whatever. But
Brother, same thing with Slipknot back in the day. Like I said on the Corey Taylor episode a few episodes back. For those of you who are just joining us on the Rockman Power Hour, we have many episodes from the last few years, including some amazing interviews with Corey Taylor. I had mentioned they did not take photos with their friends back then, and if they did, they covered their faces,
yeah,
their faces with their hands, and there was a mystique to keep up. Nobody really publicly knew what Kiss looked like until Ace and Peter were already out of the band, and they did this big reveal on MTV. Kiss takes off their makeup, and it's like, here's Gene Simmons. Wow, wonder what he look like. Here's Paul Stanley. Wow, here's Eric Carr. Oh, okay, yeah, he's been in there a few years. Here's Vinnie Vincent. Who?
yeah, it's
until the Kiss Army attacks us by saying Vinnie Vincent's a pivotal part, and I agree with you.
Yeah,
I'm just saying when you're really unmasking, this band that had been around for like 10 odd years, and you're taking off their makeup for the first time, and two of the members are gone. It's just a little less impactful.
Yeah,
but
definitely. So yeah, but listen, I completely forgot to do this, and I shouldn't, because they're the reasons why we're still in business. Let's give a big shout out to Heartbeat Hot Sauce. Great hot sauce company out of Thunder Bay, Ontario. I love this. I love this product so much. I went to the Mastodon show in Montreal, as you know, and Bill, who's been on the show before, is a friend of mine and of yours. And he was in Montreal, and I went to the show, and I brought the band a 6-pack of hot sauce, and I left it in the dressing room, and they were very happy, very happy, because the last time I was there, I brought some, and it got talked about so much that the crew bus were saying, "Hey, is there anywhere we could get a couple of those bottles of that on the crew bus? I know you guys have like 12 bottles over there." So, big shout out to Heartbeat Hot Sauce. Great stuff. I want to bring attention to their new caps. We've been talking about them. They've got new caps that just flow beautifully. And my new batch that I got, I'll have the new caps on them, and it's just amazing. So much so that when I do disperse the hot sauce, I have to be careful, because if I squeeze it the old way, a lot of stuff comes out. And I don't want
okay.
The blueberry habanero is one of my favorites, and I'm just about to crack open this bottle when we get off to I'm going to make breakfast, and I'm going to put this all over my eggs. I cannot wait. So check out heartbeathotsauce.com for all of your hot sauce needs, and you can get our promo code right here, Rockman20. That'll get you 20% off your entire order. So check out Heartbeat Hot Sauce, the heartbeat of the Rockman Power Hour. And big shout out to our friends over at Studio House Designs. Ryan, that's the Toby stack, right?
Yeah, the Toby Hooper stack. And it took a long time since we started working with them for them to put out more VHS stacks, because at the time that we partnered up with them, they had stopped doing them for a little while. I've had the opportunity to have a few stacks now. Like there's the Toby Hooper specific stack. There's the 90s Slacker stack. Tons of the Pauly Shore one. I mean, seriously, shirts I never thought would ever exist all come from Studio House Designs.
Yeah,
so,
great company.
Thank you very much.
Out of Philadelphia, and we're going to be seeing them in a little bit. We're going to take a little road trip and go check them out. So that'll be fun. I'm rocking the Clockwork Orange. I wore this yesterday. I hosted the premiere of Gran Turismo, right?
Really?
Which I want to spend a couple of minutes talking about very quickly. But so this is the shirt I wore yesterday. Don't ask why I'm wearing it again. I just wanted to wear it today. Okay, and I'm clean. I can tell you. I can promise you, I'm clean. I always get compliments when I wear these shirts. Always, and you too. I know you always have people. Someone always goes, "I love your shirt." So that alone is worth the price of admission.
They're when you're walking around in public, they're passports to excellence, because it kind of links you up with really cool people.
Yeah.
And like back in the day, you could be at a party, you find that one guy with a Spider-Man shirt, and you're like, and this is the dude I'm going to talk to all night.
This is my new friend. Exactly.
Yeah, this is my new friend.
So I wanted to say, Gran Turismo I went in, I'm not going to lie, I went in with very low expectations, because it's been one of those summers where a lot of stuff has been underwhelming when it comes to their performance. Not necessarily in the movie delivery, but just the general. I feel like movies are going through the same thing that kind of music went through in 2000. People are just looking at like all the hard work that's put into putting out a record doesn't matter, because people are just like, they put no value on it almost anymore. It's like, oh, it's just another one of those. And like anyone that's created anything, as you have and we have, when you create art, there's a lot of work that goes into it. So the fact that a lot of these blockbuster films were getting dismissed that weren't even that bad, like The Flash, like Indiana Jones, and so many others. I kind of went in with Gran Turismo going, oh man, video game movie. Ugh, what is it? And I did not look into it. I did not. I mean, I knew it was based loosely on the game, but man, I was blown away by how much this movie people cheered at the end of the film. And I'm like, I remember the last time I was in a movie where people were cheering, and people were cheering for the movie. The performances were great. The story is great. I don't even want to tell you what it's about because it kind of ruins it. But let's just say it's based on a true story.
I have an idea what it's about, but sometimes if I learned anything about Fantasia movies too,
Go in blind.
is that sometimes the less you know, just go in blind.
Yeah.
And I think what's missing is that trust that the audience has with the theatrical experience sometimes.
And it's different. It's not like anything we've been accustomed to watching over the last little while, you know, and when something comes that's completely fresh, it's always like, wow. And that's why Top Gun Maverick, I mean, was it completely fresh? No, it was a continuation of the Top Gun story, but it was 30 something years later. So it feels like, oh man, I like this. This is new, like for today's landscape. So same idea, but yeah, definitely check out Gran Turismo. Available. Well, I think it's as of now, it's actually in theaters. And yeah, Sony Pictures Canada. Thank you so much for allowing us to see that early. And yeah, good movie. All right.
Well, for allowing you to see that early, but restoring my faith in the theatrical process. Now, I love theaters. I love movie theaters.
Me too.
I love going in them. I love just closing off the world, shutting off the phone because it's super rude if you don't. And every motherfucker that keeps your phone on and you're scrolling through Instagram and it's on the full brightness, all of you.
I know. It's funny because I was sitting in the easy Ryan. I was sitting in the theater and there was someone next to us that had their screen on at the beginning, and she turned it off really quickly. But I was like, wow, can you turn that off?
Yeah.
Like, that should not even I shut my phone off before the lights go down.
It's ego.
Yeah.
It's whatever I feel like doing matters more than hundreds of other people's experiences. It is ego. It is selfish. I cannot say there is a special place in hell for all of you who cannot turn off your phone during a 2-hour or less movie.
We're going to give Ryan a chance to calm down, but right now let's go right to our interview with Nuclear Power Trio.
Hello.
How are you, Mr. Lincoln?
Hey, how you doing, man? I'm doing pretty good. I've been dead for a long time, but I'm feeling better.
I can see that. So it seems that are you filling in for the Nuclear Power Trio guys today, or what's going on? I didn't realize you were actually in part of the project.
Yeah, basically what I was, excuse me, the voice is still shit from being dead for so long, but I was about 157 years. I was, hanging out on the other side, and basically got an email, which we do have access to over there, and I got an email from some boys. Vladi P was one of the boys, and he said they had Robbie Downey Jr. managing them, and that he was acting sus. I don't know what that means. I'd assume it means abbreviation, suspicious or suspect. And so they asked if I would join up, and there were some, I guess he said he'd do little too late. I don't know what that. I don't get the reference either, but they wanted somebody.
I think he's referring to a film he was in, Doolittle, but could be. But you're not missing much, trust me.
Makes sense, man. Makes sense. But yeah, so they wanted somebody honest to come do the books, and I said I would not take 15% of gross, which is gross. The band doesn't get to walk with 15% of net each almost, And so I said I would take 15% of net and leave the remaining 20% to the band.
I love it. I love it. So you're basically acting as a manager. And are you kind of able to communicate what the band's trying to get across musically?
Yes, 100%. I mean,
so they've entrusted you with that. I've
been present essentially throughout the entire process with the band, and they've got complete and total faith in me to represent them in press. I tour manage. I clean the shitter. I mean, I do it all, man. It's a lot of tough work, but they're good guys in the end. This version of the guys.
Well, I got to tell you, I mean, just just the fact that the three of them got in a room together to create, besides the fact that they probably have similar agendas in terms of being just, maniacal tyrants, but their skills on their instruments are just next level.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised by that myself. I mean, Buzzard's guts, man. I mean, you look at it, these guys were all in, some of them still are in positions of power. And I mean, you could argue they are all in positions of power, as anybody with that kind of money is. And, I think you look at it and what a great way to go. I mean, politics are shit. I mean, just across the board, I've always said it, I've always hated politics, but, it felt like one of the only ways to get things done. I just didn't know how powerful it could be if you switch to music. I mean, you watch, right. If Dave Matthews gets up in front of 50,000 people and tells them to take a shit, I mean, they're going to do it. I mean, politicians don't have that kind of power,
Sure.
I mean, they're influential, but only to a degree, but people love listening to musicians and going to musicians for, about things that musicians really shouldn't have shit to say about. I mean, what about playing guitar qualifies you on foreign policy?
Right.
I don't know, wow. But for some reason, people literally will, vote or act aside on a particular issue, depending upon how the musicians they listen to feel about it. And so the guys realize that, hey man, music's a lot better way to get across the message of world peace rather than, going to summits and dealing with the bureaucracy of international foreign relations, man. It's just all husked out, as I used to say. Like play some fucking tunes, man.
And it's funny to see that, the musical style that this trio has gone towards is, almost like progressive jam, jazz, fusion. I mean, it's just kind of all over the place. I would imagine kind of like their worldviews.
Yeah, kind of tough to put a label on it, really. Right. I mean, Latin fus-djent. Right. I've heard some idiots call it before. I think it might have been the boys in the band, but I mean, instrumental progressive metal. I mean, whatever. But I mean, you got synthwave on there. Yeah. You've got samba. You've got rasgueado guitar. I mean, you got harp on there. You got real horns. There's two steps on there. There's a part that sounds like fucking Debussy. I mean, Claire de Lune. I mean? So it's all over the fucking board, man.
It's funny because I'm from Montreal and there's a really, really good progressive band, kind of a fusion jazz band called Uzeb. That are out of here. And when I heard some of that the bass slapping, and it just brought me back to that,
oh, that's great.
I could definitely see this band playing like on on the Montreal International Jazz Festival stage.
No shit, that would be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be, except for the fact that they probably would get pelted with everything in the crowd.
Right. I mean, we'll have to put up like those things that the drummers use where they put up those
like sound yeah, or chicken wire,
Exactly. We'll put one of those up across the whole fucking stage. You can throw as many things you want at them. I mean, that's like when you got respect for the eggs, but not the hat. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, it's one of those things that I learned growing up. Just drink a can of soda and just do it. But yeah, Montreal Jazz Fest, the festivals, I think would probably make most sense for the band to play.
I think so.
Something first, I mean, like the logistics of putting it together. I mean, you think about, in no way, shape or form is this actually a fucking trio. You know what I'm saying? I mean, 750 goddamn tracks on that record. That ain't no fucking trio.
Yeah. There's no way that would be a hard thing to pull off live.
That's what Dave Otero said, man. Well, we were recording with him, he said, I thought this was a fucking trio. We booked out fucking 8 days or something. Here we are 7 weeks later, they're doing that record and just, Dave's just sad as hell, man. Should have gotten a lot more money for that guy.
Well, it's many tracks on that. That record probably has as many tracks as, a Def Leppard vocal take.
I think no shit. It's somewhere. I saw a screenshot somewhere north of 750 tracks. Now that includes the important demo tracks, and they'll have some this and this, but still, I mean, it's insane, man. There's probably 20 tracks for the harp alone. I mean, getting to the synth, and there's 175 guitar tracks. We make sure to bury those so you can hear the bass.
So there seems to be a great feature list across this record too. There's some great guests on this record. Can you tell me a bit about some of the guests that this band has managed to secure for the record?
Hell yeah. Some great people. Most of the guests had to, I guess the word is be encouraged,
right.
Coaxed, coerced, black bagged, whatever you want to call it.
Waterboarded.
Waterboarded. Yeah, waterboarding at Guantanamo Bay sounds like a lot of fun if you don't know what either of those things are. But so we did, we got Scott, we call him Scott Truck Ramp. Scott Carstairs from Fallujah, which is also a great place to visit. I had a lot of fun in Fallujah. Some great food, very spicy. It's got a lot of bang to it. And he did a great solo. I mean, they knew they wanted to have that it's that Scott Fallujah thing. It's just that when you go on his Twitch channel, you've seen it. I mean, it's a beautiful solo that he did on there. Chris Broderick, I mean, that was out of left field, I mean, getting Chris Broderick on there. And I think that's one of the coolest Chris Broderick solos I've ever heard. Very, very, I believe it's one of the zaniest solos on the record. That one on that's on Anti-Saxers. That track also features Bruce Lamont from Yakuza and Brain Tentacles and that kind of stuff. He did a great job really bringing, convincing everybody that, saxing was the way to go. I mean, the whole band were anti-saxers before this, and he completely changed their mind, man. I mean, that instrument does belong in a genre, a genre-defined band such as this. Sax needs to be, you need to get fully saxed.
I really love the song titles here too. Going right across the board, like Wet Ass Plutonium. just
I still don't get the reference. I don't. Why is it wet? I don't. I've been dead for 157 years.
Yeah,
so I might have missed something.
You've missed a few things. I mean, just the fact that we're able to open up a computer and chat. I mean, it's gotta be a little weird for you.
It's a little mind blowing, man. I mean, Zoom. I don't even think that fucking word existed when I grew up. I mean, maybe. I mean, there were some cameras. I think we called them cameras, but. Something about a bucket and a mop. Grab a bucket and a mop. I don't get. I mean, this shit is just crazy. And that's song of the year. I mean, that was like you had some awards. The Grammys or something. Wet ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I get that. I'm starting to get it. So, Wet Ass Plutonium was a good one. Another guy brought up a point. I don't know if you're able to tell it, but when I listen to the stuff, I kind of got a strong sense of that the song title, despite this shit being instrumental, but that the song titles actually seem to fit the music, or the music fit the song title.
I can see that. I can see that, like night flick. Is it night flicks and chill?
Netflix and chill. Right. That was originally called Secret Service Samba.
Okay.
But Netflix and chill was it kind of had a better vibe to it. There's a strong Gloria Estefan influence.
Well, I was going to say there seems to be, and I don't know if you're actually in Miami right now, but there seems to be a real Miami, and which I find really particularly weird considering Donny's stance on letting people into. It seems like Donny doesn't mind certain people coming into the country when it can bring him certain elements that work in his power trio. And it seems to be, like you mentioned, there's such a Latin vibe across this whole, I don't know, this whole record. I don't know if it's because you guys were spending time in Miami.
Yes,
that was, but to me, it sounds like a classic case of white privilege.
I mean, I think if you just look at the whole situation as sort of like when I got asked to join the band, they had already been down in Miami. There was a little bit of a tiff going on between Vladi P and Kimmy and Don. Apparently, they had gone to do a show or a concert, a video or something on Mars. And they got left behind. Donny was late for a golf tournament, left the boys behind. He did say that the original Craigslist ad required that band members have their own transportation. But coming from Mars, that's a long journey. But so there's always the start of the band. Everybody was big Gloria Estefan fans,
right?
And Donny has it's sort of like a taco bowl that he serves at I believe it's at the Trump restaurant at the bottom. I forget the name of the restaurant.
In his Trump Tower. Yeah.
That's correct. That. Yeah. And he loves Mexican food. I mean, it's a really good. I mean, it's not as good as Qdoba's, but it's a pretty damn good dish. And so, you know, I think that, I don't know if the food entered its way in, or I mean, Donny's always been a Florida boy.
Yeah.
You know, with the Mar-a-Lago. And so they ended up having a strong Miami sound machine influence going on. You know, a lot of Miami Vice happening. And that just so happened to be where the three of them were able to reconcile their differences. And that happened to be some synthwave clubs in Miami, you know, and there may or may not have been someone named Molly involved. I don't know. You know, there was a lot of love going around. They had to bury some deep issues and sort of, you know, I don't think that's representative of what the band does, though. You know, I mean, politics are just garbage, you know, like we were saying, and they've able to transcend the barriers that normally exist in international relations between leaders of such power via synthwave.
Yeah, it's kind of a beautiful example to the world on how people can come together with music.
That's right. Yeah, and if you think about the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum physics, quantum mechanics, or if you look into the many worlds theory, metaverse, you know, multiverse, if you call it that, but that every choice and every action we all have individually splits the universe off into a separate reality unto itself. And so every single one of us can choose peace. Yeah. Every moment you can change. Every single choice that you have makes a difference in collapsing the wave function into particle, to collapsing the infinite realm of possibilities into an actual existence. And so our choices are very paramount into defining and describing and creating the consensus reality that we live in. And I think that the boys understood that, and in this particular realm of reality, they chose peace over war.
That was presidential.
Thank you. I used to be one.
so being back in you know, from the other side and here and working with the guys and you know, the new record's coming out June 26th, I believe.
Actually,
July 26th. July 26th.
I believe it's July 28th. But
28th. Okay, so we're coming. So it's the end of July.
Correct, yes.
Ramping up to put this out. Obviously, you know, hot on the heels of the you know, the previous record, which seemed to you know, really take people by surprise. But what's great about this is proving that this project has legs.
Right, exactly. Yes. Long legs, you know, legs for days. I mean, you know, a lot of times you'd see something like this pop up and you think it's going to just be a little, I mean, to be honest with you, the whole thing was just a quick little jam session the guys put together, you know, thought it'd be fun to do. And Metal Blade put a comment on the YouTube video saying, you know, 10 out of 10 would sign. And
wow.
So that was literally the start of the conversations. And they were like, yeah, okay, you want to sign this? And we're like, well, there's just one song. And so they're like, well, put it together and we'll sign it. We'll put it out. And
wow.
There was some fear.
That's Brian Slagle putting his money where his mouth is.
I don't know how much Slagle had to do with it. I did hear there might have been some coercion on that aspect as well from a young man named Vince. But you find that most times with things like this, it could be a little bit of a puff and a whistle, you know, as we used to say. But I think that perhaps a man's character is like a tree, and his reputation is like its shadow, and the shadow is what we think of it, but the tree is the real thing, and the tree is the band, and the shadow is the record, right? And so if you think about it, we're going to have longevity in this type of a band because there's just nobody else out there doing it. You know, and that's kind of the point, is that, you know, sometimes in bands, you know, we have musicians that play this type of music, something's too pretty, or that's too funky, or, you know, this is too quirky, this is too straight. I mean, there's so many rules in metal, you know, and these guys kind of figured out, like with this particular band, there are no rules. I mean, you have no fucking idea what the hell the next song is going to sound like. I mean, it does have a sound. It does have a sound like a band. I mean,
definitely.
It all sounds like Nuclear Power Trio.
Yeah.
But you don't know what you're going to hear. I mean, there may be a Tears for Fears cover, I mean, they might play Top Gun. They might, I mean, I have no idea because there's no rules. The rule is fun. Have fun. Spread the message of having fun, enjoying life, and being messengers or instruments of peace in this world that so desperately needs it.
Well, I'm really, really curious to see how the world reacts to the record. I've had a chance to sit with it for a bit. Metal Blade were nice enough to send it to me, and I really, really enjoy it.
You do.
It's good vibes, and considering where it's coming from, it's nice to see that there are some good things coming out of those three individuals when they put their collective powers together. That's no pun intended.
That's a great synopsis, really, of what it is. That the line between good and evil runs right in the middle of every single person's heart. I mean, it's like which wolf grows is the one that you feed.
Sure.
I mean, you can't be the best person that you could ever be without imagining the worst person that you could ever be. I mean, the greatest people on the planet and the worst people that have ever existed on the planet, we all have the capability of being either one of those things. And again, it comes down to the choices that we make. So choose music, choose fun ass music, choose to have a good time and enjoy it. And I'm glad that you like the record. Guys put in a shit ton of work on it, more than they ever did into politics, I'll tell you that. And they will be elated to hear that people are enjoying it, because it was an ass load of work, as we used to say in the 1800s.
Let me ask you, since there are so many tracks on some of these songs, and probably great opportunity for other people to jump up on stage, would you ever consider playing anything live with the guys, or do you not have a lot of musical talents?
I can play a little bit. I was a singer for a little while, but I always considered myself like an accidental instrument, And so when I'm getting ready to reason with a band, I spend one third of my time thinking to myself about what I'm going to play, and then 2/3 of the time thinking about what the band's going to play, in an improvisational setting. So I think that you may see, it's possible I could, maybe pop in and take over for certain members, or, I mean, there's so many damn tracks on the record. We're going to have some friends help us out. I mean, the only way to get by is with a little help from your friends. I wrote that line. When I grew up, my father used to beat the shit out of me with a switch, is what we used to call it back then.
Not the switches that you see the kids play with nowadays.
No. That actually, the origination of the Nintendo Switch was to be used to beat children. I don't know if you're aware of that.
I wasn't aware.
It came, it was a device that was developed in parochial schools.
Yeah.
And they knew that the little buttons there were meant to inflict damage onto the face.
Yeah, you could see the welts coming off of them just when you look at them.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And we also designed them to give kids carpal tunnel because we wanted to hurt their hands.
Right.
Yeah. And so I don't know how we got off on that tangent.
Well, we're talking about when you were beaten with the switch.
Oh, I was beaten with the switch. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, that's how I got such a strong sense of rhythm. Was my father would beat me to a metronome. And I found that some tempos were more tolerable than others, matter of fact, like blast beats, like real fast, 220 beats per minute with the switch wasn't that bad at all. I mean, 25 beats per minute was kind of bad, because it was such a long time in between those beats.
Really can feel the sting.
You felt the sting,
Yeah.
And so I thought that was pretty apt. An interesting way to learn how to be rhythmic was to have it beaten into you. And so that most times inspires me to get up on stage when I see people playing. So to answer your question, yes, I may be on stage with the band playing. I am the tour manager. I'm going to be handling all the press and all this modern, huckster Tammany Fall, it's like one of those petty fogging things that you just try to get as many things as you can done. And it used to be a musician back in my day. You get up on stage, you play, you go home, that's it. Now it's like 24/7. You're a musician, man.
I mean, VIP meet and greets, the whole thing. Yeah,
you're twitching and you're gramming and you're tweeting and you're snorting and you're huffing and you're doing all this shit all the damn time, man. What happened to just play a show and go home, man? That ain't it no more. You're 24/7 musician, So, but yeah, so live, yeah, we hope to do it.
So speaking of shows, I imagine there's some performances coming down the pipeline.
Yes, we've had the band has had some offers. There's been a couple, even back during the pandemic, there was a couple offers before I was around to do some live streams, which would have been cool. But now that things are back, you can actually get out and play shows again. There are some potential offers coming up. There's the band's got a couple booking agents worldwide and states in North America. And so when the right offer comes along that makes sense, I think that we'll be able to put it all together. It's going to require a big, it's going to have to be a big production.
Yeah.
And so it can't be something where, I wouldn't expect to see the band going and doing, 2 out of 4 on some, 6-week states North America tour, grinding it out.
Second of 4, yeah.
It's going to be something where it's like, a festival. So it's going to match the grandiosity of the characters that are involved in the band, And so step the fucking offers up, let's get 50, 60, 70K, I'm fucking ready to go, man.
And as the tour manager, good luck with getting the visas for those guys to get. I mean, I think at this point, all 3 of them, even though Donald, if you're playing North America, Donald, even as a U.S. citizen, it's gonna get harder and harder for him soon to travel. But the other 2 getting in here, I mean, that you've got your work cut out for you.
Well, we're gonna go with MasterCard. We're not gonna use visas. Yeah. The rates are too high. Visa is just not the way. I mean, American Express maybe, but MasterCard really kind of doesn't get a lot of credit these days. So we're gonna just try that shit. Show up at the border. Hey, have you got your Visa? Nope. MasterCard.
I love it. I think that's going to be you're gonna kill it as a tour manager.
Thanks, man.
President Lincoln, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. Please extend my well wishes to the other 3 guys. Again, great to see that. I might not agree with any of them politically, but when they get together musically, there is a really positive thing that happens. It's called Nuclear Power Trio. Can't wait for people to hear the record. And thank you so. I mean, it's good to see you up and at 'em. I mean, the last time I saw you, you were sitting in that big chair when I went to visit Washington.
That's
the
right.
Fact that, it's great that you are back.
It feels good. I still feel a little fucking dead inside, but I think we all do, and so I think that that's okay. And we just do our best to enjoy things. And I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak with you. I see you got the Terminator stuff in the background. Is that?
Yeah, that's the T1000. Did you get a chance to see that when you got back?
Yes. Big fan of T2. I think that was the pinnacle of the series, for sure. I think that all the reboots, the one with, what was it? Not Genesis, the one where it was kind of
Dark Fate.
Yeah, Dark Fate.
It was kind of a return to form, but people just weren't. Yeah,
nothing can top T2. That was the peak of Edward Furlong as well. Yeah. Brain Scan was a good movie. I don't know if you saw Brain Scan.
I own Brain Scan.
Yes, great flick. Especially with the Primus, that creature guy loving the Primus. I thought that was great. Yeah. But that was the peak of Edward Furlong was T2. He did not age as well as I did, but I got shot.
I got to tell you, you got something over him. Thank you so much for taking the time. New record comes out at the end of July, and continued success, and steer these guys in the right way, because it looks like you can whip them into shape.
Thank you so much, man. Have a great day, man. You take care. All right.
Are you better now?
No. Their music reminded me of my passionate rage for those who keep cell phones on. No, the interview was great. Okay, the funny thing about that interview is that, when it begins, I'm like, oh God, is this going to be 20 minutes of this in character stuff? And then after about 2-3 minutes in, you're like, wait a second, this is amazing.
Yeah.
This person's amazing at it.
Yeah.
And I'm experiencing something wonderful.
Yeah, no, it really was special. And I tell you, man, the album is fun, and it's called Wet Ass Plutonium. I think they're WAP. I think they're doing a play on a Cardi B.
Yeah.
But the album's called Wet Ass Plutonium. It's available now. I really enjoy this record. I enjoy the music. I enjoy the shtick. I enjoy everything, and I hope we get to see them live, and I hope they tour. So check out Nuclear Power Trio's album Wet Ass Plutonium, and thank you to whoever joined us. Right now, I'm just going to say thank you to Mr. Lincoln for for exhuming himself and joining us on the podcast. Pretty special. Ryan. Oh yeah, next week we're going to be talking about something you did.
Yeah.
Very cool too.
Yeah. If you want to, in the meantime, before we talk about it, if you want to see something hilariously violent happen to me, you could see it on a movie on Netflix called To Catch a Killer.
I want to talk more about that the next time we're here. We got a lot of great stuff coming up. We've got some great stuff that's in the pipeline. I believe we're going to be talking to Cannibal Corpse in the near future. I believe we're going to be talking to Danko Jones, and I believe we're going to be talking to a queen of Canadian rock very soon.
Yeah,
Sass Jordan.
Yeah, nothing small about that. That's pretty monumental, especially considering this is the Rockman Power Hour, and we both grew up in the Montreal music scene, and she was a pioneer in the Montreal music scene.
Definitely. You couldn't turn on Montreal radio without hearing Sass Jordan, so it's really, really cool to be able to catch up with her. So all that great stuff coming up in the next few weeks. Thank you for joining us on the Rockman Power Hour. We really, really appreciate you. Big thanks to Heartbeat Hot Sauce, the heartbeat of the Rockman Power Hour. Use our promo code right down there, Rockman20. And they'll get you 20% off your entire order. Thank you to Studio House Designs, a great t-shirt company out of Philadelphia that we love to support. Thank you to AKG. And thank you to my producer, Julia Kajurski, our producer, Julia Kajurski, my co-host, Ryan Stick, and all of you for joining us on this journey. Make sure that you share this episode, like, subscribe, hit the alert button, do all that fun stuff. And that way you will not miss anything that comes out, because every once in a while, we might drop something on you out of the blue and you'll be like, hey, I didn't know that came out. Well, you would have if you were subscribed and if you had an alert button hit. So hit all that stuff. Thank you for supporting us. We really appreciate you. And until next week, we'll see you on the Rockman Power Hour. Hey, thanks so much for supporting the Rockman Power Hour. We're almost 2 years strong, and we absolutely couldn't do this without your support. So make sure you click on one of these links to find our entire playlist of episodes. And if you haven't subscribed yet, right over there, hit it, and you won't miss anything.